Hey, yo, whoa. This is another episode of Ski's Opinion with your gracious and humble host, Ski. How we doing out there, people? How we doing? Gonna jump right into it. So, what I want to jump into today is my man, your man, our man, 50 Cent. Bam. So, last time I was on here, people, we spoke on Jimmy Jones being evicted, losing his mind, spiraling, kicking doors. Whoa. Goofy dude. Goofy. So, anyway, Jimmy being evicted. 50 Cent just dropped a bomb, you guys, on the world. Oh. Stuff. But he just dropped the bomb. If this is true, 50 Cent has bought half of the building that Jim Jones shoots Let's Rap About It podcast, and he's building out his sound stages and, his whole entire IFC factory runabout. I was looking at like pretty much a walkthrough of it. Jimmy is that place is gonna be nice if they ever can get it off the ground. Like, he's putting in some decent stuff. That I just think of doing something with a booth in the studio, which is decent. I think the clothing store, a boutique or something. He's talking about restaurants, barbershop. He got a crazy, idea. I would say, like, that's coming together that he's put out there, or he's trying to put together or whatever. That is actually, I would say, like, pretty that is pretty decent, what he's doing. But anyway, let's get back to what I came here to speak about, and that is 50 Cent. 50, he put out thing with a picture of him and I guess the Asian guy who owned the building. I guess 50 was the one who released it, the video of Jimmy kicking the doors in, or trying to kick the doors in or whatever, and all of that, with also some audio, I guess, of the owner of the building on there. They took the picture, they got a smile, and 50 saying, now I own half of the building. Jimmy, you need to pay for all the damages from the doors that you kicked. See what you acted like that? Now, on your security deposit. This dude is funny as hell, right? It's funny as hell. So, Jimmy bounced back. He responded, right? He come back with something saying that, showing him pulling into the IFC garage, where he's building the studio and booth area, pulling into my ish, this and that, you talking ish, right, saying that. But basically proving, like, 50, that he's not locked out of there. He drove into the building without a problem. They did lock doors inside of there that he couldn't get into. That's why he's kicking them off the hinges, so we're not going to sit here and act like they didn't try to lock down something from him. Now, it also looks like to me, Jimmy may be doing some squatters type thing, right? They crack jokes on the Let's Talk About It podcast saying, squad, we not never leaving. And I think he's taking that to heart, because Jimmy is not trying to leave. Like, I think he keep popping back up, like in defiance of being evicted, right? So I think he still has probably the garage door key. The owners, I would assume, didn't have time to get that changed, So he's still able to come into the building. Now, we didn't see him go anywhere else, you guys. He pulled up in there, he talked a little ish. Like, he's sitting in the car, looked like he's in the Tesla truck or something like that. He said putting up into his ish, this and that and all that, right? So it doesn't look like, what can I say? Doesn't look like Jimmy's trying to leave, right? They got paperwork showing that Jimmy is in arrears and he needs to get this taken care of so that he I guess can resume doing what he's doing. But it sounds like right now it got to a point to where Jimmy's not paying, or he hasn't been paying for so long that the man got eviction papers now. So I think that Jimmy has been evicted. I heard a guy saying when he posted up the video that now they're confused, like, do 50 own half of it, or does Jimmy still own it, or whatever, because he pulled in there. Well, it shows that Jimmy could get in there. He was in the building kicking doors, so I'm assuming that he was able to get through that garage before. And I don't think that the owners, you know, that may include 50 Cent now, had a chance to get around to putting or changing the locks on the garage. So I think that is coming next, though. I think that Jimmy is going to end up going there, and he's not going to be able to get into the garage next, you know, like he wasn't able to get in those rooms or apartments or whatever it is that he was trying to get into, the area of the space that he was using to record. It is what it is. But anyway, I'm going to keep an eye on this, people. I want you guys to get in the comments, tell me what y'all think about 50 Cent possibly owning half of the building, and if that's true, from based off what the landlord says, that he owns 50% of the content that Jimmy is putting out. So would that mean that 50 owns 25% of the content now that Jimmy's putting out? So we shall see, you guys. This is getting very interesting and very funny, if you ask me, right? 50 is hilarious. So that's all I got to say right now about that. But I'm gonna stay on key. You know, I'm gonna continue to my next story, and it's still about 50 Cent. But 50 and it's 50 and King, or 50 and T.I. and King. I know everybody said that, you know, yesterday 50, I think, posted a picture of Tiny that didn't look too flattering, I would say, right? That's how I use that. Right? I'm gonna use big words because I'm talking about T.I., right? You know, expeditiously. Let me stop. But for real, it didn't look too flattering for her. The picture, he said something on the capture I didn't really catch, but it spawned a response from King. And as much as people want to say about King, you know, and the way that he acts, or he reacts to stuff, he spazzes out or whatever, I would say that this young man has a point. And I can understand where he's coming from, right? The choice that he made to respond with, you know, with disrespecting 50's mother, you know, his deceased mom, I would say is a bit far. I wouldn't have done it, you know, but I'm not King. So I can't say. I mean, would I have been upset and responded to someone saying something or posting up a negative picture about my mom? Yes. So I'm not knocking that. You know, I mean, like I said, I can't all the way say he's wrong, but I just wouldn't have carried it that way. I wouldn't have went to that point of, you know, being disrespectful, showing his man mother's grave. Not only his mother's grave, what people didn't pay attention to is his grandmother's name is on that tombstone as well. So she's buried there with her daughter, right? So you show his granny's grave as well. You didn't say anything disrespectful about his grandmother, which I will commend King for that, because as disrespectful as everybody can say he is, he kept it to just 50's mom, which was very disrespectful to talk about this woman being deceased, and let's put a picture up of my mom and then dig your mom up and put it. That was ill, and we see who looked better, right? So this is that's a bit much, you know what I'm saying, in my opinion. But can we say how people can fight, right? Because people never speak on what 50 does, right? And the things that he put out there, like him putting Tiny in it, and she has nothing to do with what him and T.I. is doing, right? And I'm going to speak on T.I. because I kind of respect my brother for what he spoke on $1 million worth of game. And I get it. I get where he's at with it, and it doesn't sound like he's lying. I can't say he's telling the truth because I wasn't there with him and 50 when they had the conversation, but he sounds very convincing to me on the way that he responded, and he voiced what he felt about the situation, right? So I'm gonna say I'm gonna get to that, but let me get back to King. So King, with his disrespect, it sounded like 50 respond back, he put a frog up there, right? I don't know if he was saying the frog was Tiny or the frog was King, but I guess that's him responding, and then he put the picture up with him, or I think he was the clip from him on Entourage when he was laughing at Turtle in the car. He laughing. He showed that, he put that picture up. I think he posted that picture where it's showing like he unbothered, right? But you don't know where 50's going with this, right? I do know that he loves his mom, and the disrespect that was given to his mother, even though he disrespected that man's mother, I don't think that he's going to take that too lightly, and it's probably going to be some repercussions behind it, which is to be expected. I would be surprised that 50 don't say anything, right? So I think that he's gonna say something. I keep seeing clips and people putting things out there disrespectful, and saying 50 Cent really was disrespectful as far as what he did with Tiny, right? And I get it, you're putting this woman into something that got to do with you and her husband, which is disrespectful, but nobody's saying King's disrespectful for posting up this man's mother's grave and then talking ish about his mom. He said your mom is D-I-E as H-E double hockey sticks. I don't mean to laugh at that, but that is ill. To say that like I said, I can't tell nobody how to feel in response to their mother being disrespected, right? But I will say that King, after that, people said he didn't have nothing to do with that. You should let your father fight that. I don't know. That's his mother, you guys. You know what I'm saying? So I gotta respect King coming with something. Was it bad in poor taste? Yes. In my opinion, yeah. I wouldn't have done it. But I can't say that I don't understand where King's coming from. So now, like I said, I want to speak on T.I. T.I. saw a clip with T.I. on $1 million worth of game where he spoke on the back and forth with him and 50. It seems like T.I. said that he spoke to 50. He came to him and told him, look, I want to battle you, in the verses or whatever. I think it'd be good for us to celebrate each other's catalog. That's what the verse is really about. Do you mind if I put that out there? Should we do it? Could we do it? 50 agreed, he said. So that's what he said. I'm going to jump out there first and put it out there, what I want to do. So he started doing that. He was, I want to go 50. He went at 50, right? And he said that 50 to turn around and put all of this other stuff, like with his wife, and then he flipping it, and then he said some other stuff about T.I., and then showed a clip of T.I. with the Crime Stoppers thing. And then he go back into another clip with T.I. in the courtroom speaking about his friend's death, and which basically testified on the guy who killed Falant. T.I. took that personal. He said he don't even want to be on the stage with the man. he doesn't even entertain it, even doing anything with 50. And he don't respect him no more as a man because he said he spoke to him. And 50 gave his word like, yeah, we could do that. He's like, if you scared to just do it, then say you scared. Well, that's something that 50's never gonna say. But in my opinion, I have to kind of agree with T.I., right? When it comes to this, because 50, how you proved it, this man asking you to do a versus battle, right? And you go into the Crime Stoppers thing for him doing that video to get himself a linear sentence, and then, you know, him testifying in court against the guy who killed his friend. And I could see T.I. even doing that out of a sense of responsibility because he felt responsible for that man losing his life. And not just that, we grown, man. You know, like, I don't know. Like, we want to say gangster, street trap, and all this type of stuff, but is T.I. really doing that? Or was T.I. at a club after a show in this town and got into an altercation with somebody, put himself in something that he shouldn't have, and his friend lost his life behind? So does that make T.I. a gangster street dude at the time, or does it make T.I. a civilian who's reporting what happened to him and his friend, and he felt like all those shots was aimed at him? He can't get back at the people the way he would want to get back at them, so he went that route, right? Street niggas gonna say T.I. shouldn't have said that. Ordinary people gonna say, I would have did the same thing. And others who, like, on the sideline would say, like myself, would say, I don't know how to gauge that. I can't say he's wrong. I can't say he's right. I don't even understand it. Like I said, I don't think you can look at T.I. as a street dude no more once he became a hip-hop superstar, right? And at that time, nobody can say that T.I. wasn't a superstar. You know, all of his albums going multi-platinum. You know, he was on top of the world. He had some of the biggest songs in the world. He probably was making 100 to 200,000 a show at that point, right? So, do I look at him as a street dude at that point? No. I look at him as a man who became a superstar who came from the streets at that point, right? Once upon a time, was he a street person? Yes, he came from it. But at that point, I don't know if you could even say that he's a street person. So I get T.I.'s upset, right? I understand him not respecting 50 no more. I understand him not even entertaining the versus thing right no more. And then to put more insult on top of injury, you throw his wife into it, right? So I get T.I.'s understanding. And I would have to say that it has to be some fear on 50's part, to me, to not just do the verses with T.I. I think that was actually a great matchup as far as the verses, him and T.I. They both got a pretty decent catalog, right? I think 50 got bigger songs, but I think T.I. got more songs. That is a hit. You know, I think 50 had the bigger albums, but I think T.I. had more hit albums than 50, right? So that, and it's only 20 songs. You know, I think both of them have enough to go back and forth. They just would have figured out how strong the catalog is, how did the music age and everything, to see who would have out-edged the other person, right? And to me, I feel like when it comes to rapping or showcasing your skills as far as that, I think that 50 is not equipped or don't even want to deal with putting it out there. Fab come at him with the freestyle. I mean, it annihilated him in the freestyle. 50 said nothing. He come back. He didn't even come back with nothing as far as like means-ish about it. You know, he called all them squatters or whatever, this and that, but that's what they came up with, the freestyle squatters, right? And Fab went bananas on it, right? He never responded to Fab. Because I don't think, we know 50 can't deal with Fab as far as lyrically. On that mic, he couldn't do it back then, he can't do it now, right? So, I just got a question, you guys. Hit the comments, people. Is 50 Cent scared to battle T.I. in the verses because he's in fear that he may lose? Even though I just explained what I explained, I don't know if he would lose. I really don't see him losing. But he may feel that way. I can't feel for 50, right? And then another question I have is, do you guys think that 50 ducked the smoke with Fabulous? In the comments, let me know what you guys think. I want to ask you people to like, follow, subscribe, share the videos, hit that bell for notification. Let's run this channel up. Say, you guys, I'm on the march to 10,000 subscribers. I'm at a little over 2,200 subscribers at this point, you guys. Still moving. Support, love the support that you guys are giving. Appreciate you guys for watching the channel, tuning in to Ski's Opinion. It has been another episode of that with your gracious and humble host, Ski, and I'm out. Peace.